Hello.
Hi.
That was good.
Good. Yeah, sorry if we look a little bit hot and bothered. We've just been rolling and sparring and generally got claw marks on my face and all that good stuff. Anyway, Pete, what are we going to rant about today?
Control. Positional control.
Positions. Right. I'm going to jump first on this
Go on.
and go, so when I first started Jiu Jitsu, I didn't even start Jiu Jitsu. I started just rolling, grappling. It was just a class. And one of the things, even though the level of instruction and everything wasn't that great, one of the things they banged on about was position, submission. So get a position, establish it, get control. Otherwise you're probably not going to get to that submission. And I parlayed that into my MMA as well, where if I got a position, I wasn't going back a position. So if I progressed, I was going to keep that position or progress to a better position depending how our rolling went.
Yeah.
Right, short video, thanks, bye.
So, yeah, cool, done. There you go. No, yeah, that's everything I'm looking to do in my fights as well, is once I've exposed a position, I want to make it extremely tough for them to have to revert back to a neutral position. Say, I get into even if I get into half guard, I'll make it extremely difficult for that person to regain guard. I'm not just going to make it easy for them to just go, oh, hip bump, and then I'll triangle my legs, I'll sprawl on them, I'll make it extremely hard to get back a step and to get an advantage back every single time. Yeah, side control as well, I'll make it very, 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 very difficult for them to get half guard back. Every single step, I want to make extremely difficult for my opponent to get me out of position. I noticed this particularly when we spar. To get you out of position is very hard. You'll lock and you'll have your MMA center of gravity, and then to actually move you from that position is extremely difficult.
Not the fact that I'm fat and heavy.
I mean, it helps.
It helps.
It does help.
My girth helps.
Definitely gonna have to edit that out.
I didn't edit the thing out about Mandy coming, on the video when she comes in and Mandy goes, oh,
yeah.
I get that in.
You should have that in every video.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I certainly don't want to be out of position, and for my opponent to try and get something back, it has to cost them something.
Yeah, no, definitely. They have to. If I'm going to let someone improve their position against me, if I'm in a top position, and I'm going to let them get to their hip, or try and catch half guard or something, then there has to be a payoff that I may potentially catch a submission in that moment of movement and transition. Otherwise, no, I'm just going to keep you here, or I'm going to mount you and control you some more. So this segues into what actually I get asked quite a lot by a couple of clients I've got who are white belts. And one of them, he every time will be mid-roll and he'll stop and go, where do I go from here?
Yeah,
Where do I go from here? And it's like, just understanding that premise of flowing positions is so important. Because I almost think you maybe shouldn't learn any submissions for, say, the first 8 weeks, or however, if you're doing two a week, you're doing 2 sessions a week, maybe for the first 10 sessions, you don't do any submissions. You just learn what each position is and how to flow between them. That might put some people off, because it would be a bit like having a boxing class and going for the first 8 weeks, you're only doing footwork.
Yeah, can be boring. Can be boring. In terms of like my teaching style, I'll add in like a little submission or something just to keep things spicy and keep them interested.
Yeah.
But I had that literally the other night. A couple of people stopped mid-roll and they go, "Oh, can you show me some submissions?" And I was a little bit terse and I was a little bit like, no. Because I said, I'll tell you why in a minute, continue your roll. And they continue their roll and they finish the roll and they got up and they go, I go, oh yeah, sorry, I was a little bit short there. But ideally, you need to have brilliant position before you even consider trying to get a tap.
Exactly.
So people, I think, focus on the wrong things for the first years in jiu-jitsu. If you can grind somebody out at your sort of blue belt level, you're doing good. And submissions always come when people are tired, unless you know there are a few specialists out there who can hit submissions quickly.
I know some blue belts that have gone down in that sense. They've gone down like a real rabbit hole of one particular submission. In fact, there's one guy here, super flexible, blue belt, really slim, and he's legitimately caught me in a go-go par the other week. Like, we were warming up rolling and he just slapped it on. Went to rubber guard, just got me with it. I was like, damn you. But when he gets, there's some other positions he's not so great in. So yeah, again, you've got that. Do you want to be a specialist in one thing, or do you want to in the beginning have a broader thing and then narrow in as you get further down that road, should we say?
It's as much as fighting is about controlling the variables, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Like the more you can make people work to try and get back what they want, but they're not going to get it back.
Yeah.
And you're just making them exhaust energy. That's a really, really good strategy to start deploying.
Well, I based all of my MMA success that I had was based around making you work, or making my opponent work harder than I am. Because I'm a lazy sod, and if I can make some things easy for myself and have an uneven fight, I never want to have a fair fight. I don't want a fair fight. I want it to be a mugging down a dark lane. Analogies.
Yeah.
But essentially, so I would make sure if you took me down, you were damn sure not going to be able to hold me down. And if you were trying to take me down, I was going to make it such an uncomfortable experience and such a wasteful experience for you that you'd soon start abandoning it. And then I can start implementing my game of fighting the way I want. And I've already got you compromised. I've already got you gassed. So yeah, that's the key. One of the key things about position and being able to transition cleanly from position is you save energy. The more skilled you are at that, the more energy you save. And the more energy your opponent is wasting trying to catch up with your positional flow.
Yeah, sure. We were just going on about like specialists and generalists just a second ago. And you've got to have like a vague idea of like where you want somebody. Obviously for me, it's that sort of Kimura trap. It's that sort of side control position is like probably my A game, and I'll probably get somebody there and try and get them tired. As you say, you might have somebody who wants to get to the gogoplatas, but you've got to herd and shepherd them into that spot. I mean, the quick submissions are good and all, but there's something much more satisfying about really shepherding somebody into a position they're not comfortable in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then gaining the submission off the back of it.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to give a good analogy here, but it's not like someone shot a crap double leg and you've jumped a guillotine. Yeah? How often does that happen? Quite a lot at amateur MMA, and maybe even at I'm talking about jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
It doesn't happen so much.
Okay,
Jiu-jitsu players have a tendency not to use the guillotine, which I don't understand. But anyway, but it's not like you've just grabbed a submission because someone's done a crap takedown attempt. It's as you said, shepherd them down that road into the trap that you've laid for them.
It's a bumpy road as well.
Usually, if they're white belts, it's bumpy. They'll just be spazzing out.
Yeah. White belt spaz.
Did you say bus pass?
Bus pass? White belt spaz.
White belt.
White belt spaz.
Yeah.
White belt spaz.
Turbo. White belt spaz.
Edit that out. Control. Yeah, we could go on to the broader concepts as well, as to like maintain self-control as well within these positions, keeping calm. Like if you are underneath and you find yourself in a bad position, don't panic, because again, like if I'm on top and I can get somebody panicked and working hard, it's bad for them, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in vice versa, if you can imagine yourself underneath, take control of yourself and start breathing and start working through the positions and understanding.
We had an example of this not even an hour ago when you had that guillotine on from the mount position.
Yep.
And I managed to just, and this is going to look ridiculous, I snuck my finger in there. I managed to just gain enough space that I knew if I chill out here, generally I'm pretty hard to choke. So this is becoming the reverse of the situation for Pete, where he's gassing his arms out and trying to rip my head off. And I've just got one finger in, but it's just enough. I've bought myself this much space. That's all I need. So I knew I could relax in that position because we've done this many times over. So yeah, there's that example of, just chill. If you're in a bad position, you're in a bad position. You may as well, what's the point in using up all your oxygen? Filling yourself up with lactic acid by going, and yeah, bad things happen.
It's tough because you gotta look for those gaps, and if you're with a higher grade, you're not necessarily going to be able to pick up on where those gaps are.
And they may not give them to you either.
Yeah. But so therefore you kind of sometimes get into the mentality of, I've got to create a gap. You've got to be efficient with that as well.
Yeah.
You can't just be going mental and then just hoping a gap will turn up. You've got to, you've got to do a bit of field data. You've got to sort of go, bump, okay, when I go like this is how they respond. When I go like this is how they respond. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, definitely. Mount is probably the biggest position for that. Mount is 100% the position where it also depends if it's gi or no gi. Gi has its other dangers in mount, but no gi nowhere near as much. And you want to be relaxed, so to speak, but also aware of where your arms are. Very aware. But yeah, mount is that one though. It's like white belt. Find the biggest white belt in the room.
Yeah.
Mount them.
Yeah.
And just hold on.
All around, be alive. Yeah.
Just you've got to break that horse.
Breathing is a thing as well. I take for granted as well. I've always had quite good control over my own breathing.
Yeah, you don't hold your breath, and
I've never really done that, and I know it's like a key indicator. I'll listen to my opponent's breathing as well, and if I hear if they're like going,
definitely,
that's when I'll just squeeze some more.
Well, I have clients again, the same client who would stop at mid-roll and ask me, where do I go next? What do I do? I don't know where I progress to. It would be, they would turn around, and I can hear them he's in top position, he's in side control on me, and they're
advantage,
and they're hyperventilating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, relax, chill. This shouldn't be a massively stressful experience for you either.
Well,
there should be an element of stress, but it shouldn't be such a thing in your head that you're nigh on near having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because where do I go next? Yeah. I mean, we're not fighting. This isn't a fight. It's a game. We're rolling. So again, it's knowing when you're in a position where you're dominant and where you're not.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the thing, isn't it? You got to realize what the advantages are of certain positions and where the control points are. I think that's a big thing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if a lot of people are afraid to go to mount. I know we've talked about that a lot, and a lot of people are afraid to go to mount because of the reversal and they end up in guard. Like, they're both good positions. They're both good positions, and unless you're being mounted, even if you're mounted, like I don't put too much emphasis on any position really. Like unless somebody has me 3/4 of the way into a submission, then alarm bells will ring. If you can just chill out through pretty much 90% of the positions, you'll be all right.
Yeah,
I find, unless somebody has me like spider web. Do you know a spider web? Like 3/4 like on an arm bar like this, and like now I'll be like, okay, actually have to start doing abort procedures and start.
Yeah. Or
working
you're like 50%, 60% into a triangle. You're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Slap the
time
triangle on. Now you got to start.
to start escaping.
Yeah. But you're like, even you, when I had the guillotine on you, you're just kind of like, okay, if I can. Nope, it's okay. I'm okay. You know,
Yeah.
there's.
I think you even
panic.
noticed because you could hear me breathing.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Because I was breathing and I'm having to be like, just to try and maintain my blood pressure so I don't black out. And then as soon as I managed to get just a finger in there, and then that buys me 5 seconds. I can chill. I can then start attacking with this hand, trying to create just another centimetre of space. And that's it.
yeah. I think this gets on to like what you wanted to talk about, but I was a little bit hesitant to talk about, is that, yeah, as white belts, you should, you know.
I win.
Okay. This is disclaimer, white belts, tap early, tap often.
Yes.
Jesus. But what you're saying is, white belts need to understand getting comfy in those 3/4 submission areas.
Exactly.
That's when you should start panicking, or not panicking. Panicking is a crap. But
Working.
All right, brilliant. Not when somebody has mount on you. Not when somebody has side on you. You need to be level-headed, clear, and in control.
Yes, definitely.
3/4 of a submission on. That's when you need to start moving quicker. Right?
Yeah. Well, my take on it is, you should definitely tap early for things like, if you're in an armbar and they
Straightened armbar.
separate. Oh no! Even once they've separated my hands,
Yes.
I'm tapping.
Yeah.
Okay.
You rarely see a black belt tough it unless it's a
a
tournament.
I am not going to go to that hitchhiker defence for I'm rolling with someone in the gym. I'm like, I don't need to fully extend my arm. I don't need to risk it. Foot locks. I'll tap very early for those. Knee bars. Kimuras. I will tap so fast you've never seen someone tap faster because I have the most immobile shoulders going.
Yeah.
But because those are the things that cause me serious damage, and neck cranks, I will tap to a neck crank massively early.
Here. Neck cranks.
Wrist locks.
Kimuras, wrist. Oh yeah, you really don't like this.
Yeah, dick. But when it comes to chokes, I will let it go for a little bit longer because sometimes
The gas out.
their arms will gas out. And the other thing is, well, my opinion is quite often white belts will tap to chokes a little bit early.
Probably because they panicked.
Yeah, and because of the anxiety and the panic of it. And if you can learn to just get some defence, get a centimetre of breathing space in that choke and hold. One choke I suggest you don't do that in is a fully locked in, clamped up triangle.
Or a full clamped in RNC or something like
Well, I've tried that, if you remember. I started at a locked in RNC with Mike.
Really?
At Nogi.
That was the old trick Hickson used to do, wasn't it, as well? He'd let them get in and then he would work his way out.
So, yeah, quite often I think white belts, particularly to chokes and pressure, are probably tapping slightly earlier than they should. But things like arm bars and all that stuff, are joint locks, tap. Not saying don't tap to those. Just maybe consider feeling a choke out a little bit longer. Feeling that moment when you're like, no, I need to tap now. Because that will help you when you get to tournaments. Pressure testing, and you'll stay calmer, you'll learn to stay more relaxed. And it's not like a big issue that you tap, but it's good to feel a little bit more of that pressure. And it's you're not going to being choked, you're not going to break your arm or break your leg.
No.
Although there was that one guy who destroyed his knee because someone jumped a guillotine. And he left his leg out in front of him.
No.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, no,
I can't think of anything else either. So, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe wherever I put that bloody icon. And watch our previous videos, all that good stuff. Don't forget to click the notification bell. And Pete, anything?
No.
No. Pete's monosyllabic. Bye.